Okay. Class, last time we were reading about polar bears. If you remember, we read about polar bears and we read few facts about polar bears, and there was some activity, I think, that we had to write a newspaper article about polar bears. Okay, so today we again have to analyze the data that is given here, and then we will maybe do the comprehension. Okay, then we will have again a new topic that is how is climate change affecting the way people live. Perhaps before this topic, we were reading about how climate change is affecting the animal's life. But now we will read about how climate change is affecting humans' life. Okay. We had two questions. How many polar bears are there in Canada? So first question is this. How many polar bears are in Canada? Let me find. Okay, we have this question. We have two questions before we go ahead to do. How many polar bears are in Canada? So I am going to write answer. Okay, number one. We had just two questions. Canada is approximately 16,000 of the estimated 20,000 to 25,000 polar bears in the global polar regions. This is the answer of number one. So in Canada, we have 16,000 polar bears out of 20,000. So a lot of polar bears are found in Canada. Okay, next question. This is comprehension. This you have to write in your copy. What danger to polar bears is caused by melting snow? So why how melting snow is um, upsetting bear life? Okay, what danger? What danger to polar bear by melting snow? Anyone who has entered. Umair, Ali, Iman, and Isham was also present, I think. Okay, so I'm going to write answer number two. Answer number two here. Melting sea ice caused by global warming. This is all happening because of global warming is making it more difficult for polar bears to hunt seals. Bears to hunt seals so if they don't have food, then they won't be having any food, any prey. It threatens bear. It threatens bears' main prey for survival. Okay, class. So these were two questions. You can take a screenshot also. These are the two answers that you have to write.
Miss,
Yes.
Miss, can we read the questions from our own selves?
Yes. Okay, I think we should start. Done, everyone? Okay, so next we have analyzing the data. Here we will again read little bit about polar bears.
Good morning, Miss.
Good morning. Okay, I think now we should move.
Miss, what are we doing?
Okay, Usman has entered late, so I would like to explain you what we were doing. We were doing page number 32, I guess, and these two questions, comprehension questions we were doing. This question number one and question number two, and here is the answer.
Okay, miss.
Okay, so now let's read this. Analyzing the data, make sure you understand the significance of the information presented in the fact file on page 31. They were saying that on page 31, they had given us the information about polar bears. So we have to check out whether the information is significant, correct, or not. This will help you with your newspaper article. This map will also help us to write a newspaper article. Draw a pie chart to show the percentage of sea ice that has disappeared in the past 35 years. Okay. How many polar bears from every 1,000 have disappeared from Western Hudson Bay in Canada since 1987? So this is also the answer that, as we know that polar bears are endangered animals, so every year they might have been disappearing. So we can write the real number, how many they are disappearing in number.
Yes,
Undertake further research to. Hmm?
yes, but they asked how did the polar bears disappear?
How? How many polar bears one from every 1,000 have disappeared? कितने
Okay, miss.
disappear हुए? 1987. Since 1987 till today. Undertake further research to identify further habitats for polar bears. Where else on the map below do polar bears roam? Okay, so this map is map of Arctic showing the location of Hudson Bay and North Pole. So, map of Arctic showing the location of this is the bay and the North Pole. This is the North Pole and this is Canada. Okay, this is the map. If we were writing the newspaper article, then this is the map. We can research more about this, like the questions they had given, how many polar bears are disappearing, and we could draw a chart where we can show the percentage of sea ice that has disappeared. Means how much ice is melting, and second, how many polar bears are disappearing. These two questions we could address. But now I think already have made the newspaper articles. So let's move to the next page. This is our main topic for today, climate change. How is climate change affecting the way people live? Affecting the way people live. How is climate change affecting the way people live? Okay, look back on page number 14 at the map showing Bangladesh and its river delta. Can you see why the country suffers from frequent floods? Uh, why the country is experiencing the floods? Because when ice melts, the country faces the floods, and this happens because of global warming, because the weather is getting warmer and the glaciers are melting, the ice is melting, so that's why they have floods. Okay, so next, and it's Bangladesh is one of the countries in the world most vulnerable to the effects of global warming. So they're saying Bangladesh is the country that is being affected by global warming the most, and why it's being affected the most, we will see. It's the most vulnerable country, means maybe the climate, change is affecting this country very much. Floods have worsened the outlook for the 150 million inhabitants, most of whom are desperately poor. So they're saying when the floods come, the poor people are affected by the floods, and 150 million people are affected by the floods. Glaciers in the Himalayas have melted more than in the past. So they're saying glaciers that are found in Himalayas are melting. Glaciers are basically the ice mountains and ice rivers, frozen rivers. So glaciers are being melted, and scientists say that Bangladesh may lose as much as 20% of its land to the flooded by 2030. They're saying that by 2030, Bangladesh will lose its land because of floods. 20 million people unable to farm their flooded land could then become climate refugees. Because of floods, they cannot cultivate their land, reform their lands, flooded lands, and so that they become climate refugees. Okay, we have Whirlpool, vulnerable, refugees, desperately, and bleak. Okay, so Whirlpool, what is the first word? Vulnerable means delicate. Inhabitants, those who live there. Inhabitants, persons who inhabit. Desperately. Okay. Urgently. Urgently or with great urgency. Okay, next we have refugees. Exiles. Bleak or no hope. This was your word pool. Next, we have a glossary where glacier is a huge mass of ice slowly moving over the land down towards rivers, lakes, or sea. Himalayas are large mountain ranges in Asia to north of Bangladesh. Okay, class? So you can take screenshot of word pool as well. Next, we have next page, page number 34. That is our last page. Okay, so this was one topic, and now in the next page, we will have another topic, composition. The future is not entirely bleak for Bangladesh. Means it's not the case that we have lost the entire hope for Bangladesh. Abdul is a 12-year-old boy who lives in an area of Bangladesh which floods regularly. Read his school composition below and find out about his good news. So here we have a story whole composition that we will read, and then we will get to know how we can save Bangladesh or how Bangladesh can be saved from global warming. Okay, so glossary we have Dhaka is the capital city of Bangladesh. Kerosene is a type of fuel. Yes, kerosene is a type of fuel sometimes used for heating, also called paraffin. Okay, so today we will just read one page and tomorrow we will read next.
May I read?
Okay.
The best day of my life. I'm so excited. It was the first day of spring today. Last year, we could not get to school on a great many days because of the floods. Sometimes it was weeks by the time I got back to school. I did forget everything, but it was very frustrating because I want to
Frustrating.
study. Frustrating because I went to be study to be an. Ma'am, was this written?
Architect. To be an architect. I want
Be
to
an
study to be an
architect.
architect. वो architect बनना चाहता हूँ.
When I am older and if I miss school all the time, I will never suggest. Our father told us the situation was getting worse. He would often complain, saying we have no electricity and no cars, and yet we, we suffer these terrible cyclones and storms caused and yet we no by the rich people in other countries. But on this day of my life, everything was different. The bus on the best day, the school board was coming. From now on, it was going to come every day except Sunday and stay for the 3 hours. My little sister Maki and I were ready an hour before it was due to drive. I hid her hand to give as we waited. When all the other children at the edge of the water, we were all feeling like bottles and limsums and Maki was jumping up and down. She had missed much more school than I had. Our parents had between our to left
Afraid to let talk to
afraid
school.
to left. her walk to school even when it was open because of the dangerous water.
Okay, so this is the life of a boy, and how he used to go to school, and he wanted to become an architect. Secondly, his father always used to complain that why our country has to suffer, हमारी country क्यों suffer करती है, because हमारी country में ना electricity है ना cars हैं. जो rich countries हैं वो अपना सारा जो है वो साइक्लोन्स और स्टॉर्म्स, रिच कंट्रीज दूसरी कंट्रीज की वजह से हमारी कंट्री में साइक्लोन्स और स्टॉर्म्स आते हैं सीज में, ओशंस में. सो सी साइड पर आते हैं जिसकी वजह से हमारी कंट्री इफेक्ट होती है. सो ही कंप्लेन्स बेसिकली कि दिस हैपेंस बिकॉज ऑफ अदर कंट्रीज, दूसरी कंट्रीज की वजह से हमारी कंट्री प्रॉब्लम में आज. Secondly, in second paragraph, it is explained how his life is. He used to go on boat and with his sister, and this boat is takes children from school. Like they have said, at the edge of the water, we were fizzing like bottles of lemonade, and Mackie was jumping up and down. So they used to go through boat, and sometimes when there is a dangerous water, they still used to go on boat. So tomorrow we will read further story, and we will see how we will get to know the good news about him. So he was saying the best day of my life. We will see how the day was best for him. Tomorrow we will complete the story. Okay, so now let's see who is present.
Ali Mahmood from CB branch.
Okay, grade 6.
Morning round from Melbourne.
Ainur is present. Iman, Asif, Usman, Umair, and Isha was also present, I think. She left the class. Okay, so I've taken your attendance. So today you just have to write two questions, and this is the word pool also that we had to discuss. That's it. So I will share you the recording of this lecture too.